What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today we'll be doing a technical analysis breakdown for Bitcoin against the US dollar on the Coinbase exchange. I will first be going over what I see on the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. So there's no good reason to look at MSTR today. It's basically just slightly bouncing off the lows, still tracking lower towards lower prices. Nothing really has changed. Invalidation would be, strong drive up, at least to back above the 320s, but we're still far away from that level. Kind of want to focus the video more on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the chart. Let's see, BTC. Kind of want to focus on Bitcoin. Yeah, we're pushing up higher today, which is, an okay sign. Looks like we're right around the support level, like 108, 109, resistance right around 122, 123. So it looks like, bears could be failing to reach a measurement target lower, one leg down right here, pull back first attempt, second attempt, failure, potential higher low, inverse head and shoulders at the lows of the range. I mean, it looks like a trend reversal is going on right here. If we continue to see price move up higher, at least break above 116.5, I think there's a good shot up back to the prior all-time high and even exceeding it. So typically when you see two breakouts, one on the top, one on the bottom, and it breaks out one more time towards the top, that's usually the attempt that works, right? The third attempt. So we had a break on the top, fail, break on the bottom, fail. I think if we get another one either direction, maybe back down to lows, but I think to the highs, this one will be the one that actually succeeds. So Bitcoin, that's what's happening in the short term. Basically trading sideways for the past 3 months now. We got August, September, October into almost November, so almost 4 months of sideways trading. I'm going to mark the end of the year, which is right around here. So this is December 31st. So a lot of people believe that, we will end the trend based on time by this period, potentially into Q1. But I'm just putting the vertical line to show you guys how much time we have left. So even if we do see a large move higher, is that possible, for Bitcoin in that short amount of time? Maybe not. You might be able to get lucky just to get 130, 140,000 out of this, asset. So we'll see what happens. But overall, not a lot of time left in terms of the cycle. But there was something I was just thinking about, potential theory that the cycle could be extended in terms of the move up higher, right? So let's take a look at the monthly chart. The bottom can still end in 2026. As you see here, the bottom was right here was back in December 2018, and this one was right around November of 2022. And I think there was another one prior cycle was right around what would be 4 years back, like 2014, like January 2015. Uh, so either way, it looks like about a 4-year cycle from the lows to the lows, right? So that would be November of 2026, which would be right around here. So that means that, a lot of these other cycles, it was about 3 years up, 1 year down, right? It was 3 years up, 1 year down, 3 years up, 1 year down. You can even measure that yourself. You can take the date range, high to low. That was about 12 bars, right? These are monthly candles. That was 12 bars from here, high to low. This was about 12 bars too. And now, if we were to end like exactly how we done before, that means we would start the decline either right now or right into next month, 12 bars, right? However, look at the difference in this trend right over here versus the other two trends. They were way more aggressive, right? They were a exponential move up higher. This one was exponential move. This one was an exponential move. Is this an exponential move? No, it's not. It's like a 45-degree angle versus those ones are like 60, 70, 80 degrees. So that means that typically whenever we get overextended, it's going to take a little bit longer time to correct, right? It got really far. Now it's going to take its time. Typically, sometimes you'll see crash down, but typically, slowly drift back down, back to where it started. And that takes a lot of time, right? The higher we go, the longer it can take to come back down, to reset. So that's what happened over here. It took 1 year, took 1 year, about a year over here. But this one, is it really going to take a year to, kind of correct and shake everyone out? Probably not. So I'm just saying there's my theory that this might be, continuing higher into maybe Q1, Q2 of next year. We top out maybe April, May, and then we start the decline. So I'm saying just because it doesn't look like the other cycles, we don't have to exactly go 1 year down as we have, 2 times before. So I think, this can be, it's definitely 100% a different bull market, and the characteristics of a blow off top aren't there. So why do we have to take 1 year to go down? It doesn't really have to take that long to reset, is what I'm saying, because we did not see a blow off top yet. It can still happen, but I think it's unlikely. This might just continue at this, kind of awkward pace it's going at. It's technically a very healthy uptrend, right? 45 degrees is a very healthy uptrend. It's very consistent. It can continue a lot longer than people think. So we can continue and see an extended high cycle, and then it can start the decline later into the year, next year, instead of early this year. I mean, late this year or early next year. It can be like Q2 of next year before we start the decline down into the late 2026, which I think it will probably be the low. I think that's a lot of things are lining up. There's a lot of correlation between, gold, silver, stock market also kind of looking toppy, or looking like they are finishing up their move. It's not going to go up forever, right? This has been going up since basically December of 2022, so it's not going to go up forever, but it's definitely not a blow off top like, the stock market or gold. It's a lot more healthier, so this can continue potentially longer than people think, and into maybe Q2, maybe even Q3, early Q3 of next year before it starts to decline. Just the basis that it has not seen an exponential move. So why should it take this much time to correct and reset itself? Imagine if we go down or sideways for 12 months from here. I mean, if we just go 50%, that's a pretty cheap Bitcoin, right? We're kind of back near 50% drop would be right around $63,000. We're basically back near this prior high in 2021. So you could have bought 2021 highs and you're basically back to where you started. I mean, that's kind of a bad investment, right? If it takes you that long, 5 years later, basically you're back to where you started. So not really a good investment for Bitcoin as much people think. So hopefully we do continue higher, and then we see a correction at higher prices, and then we're still way above 2021 highs. So we'll see if that happens or not. Maybe if it does continue higher, let's just say 250,000. Just to throw a random number out there, 250,000, correct 50%, or even 60%. We're not near 2021 highs. Even 70%, we're back near 75,000, which makes sense because that's where a lot of the consolidation took place. A lot of times you'll see price come back to these consolidations like that. A lot of times to these breakout zones. This one came back to this prior peak. This one can also come back to that consolidation 2021 highs before reversing into another cycle. So again, we'll see if that plays out. No one really knows what's happening right now. It's all just predictions, but we're not going to go to $1 million. We're not going to go to $0 either. So what's most likely to occur is, we probably do see, a continuation of the cycle, right? The high doesn't have to end this year. You don't want to put the price in a box. You don't want to put the market in a box. It has to top at this end of the year. If it has, then might as well sell right now. I mean, what are you going to get? Another like 50% out of the stock, if at the most, maybe. So if you really think is going to top at the end of the year, then it's more prudent to sell. I'm not saying to sell. I'm saying if I was in the stock and I bought at the lows and I really think it's going to end by the year, well, I'm kind of pushing my luck, thinking I'm going to squeeze out a little bit more. I'm better off just kind of locking in 80, 90% of the gain and then write out the rest if you see that. But I think this is still pretty normal correction that we have been seeing in this entire uptrend. It's basically just sideways. We're only like 13% off the highs, high to low. I mean, we're like 14% right now, which is nothing, right? And I think, we could see a Q1, Q2, maybe even an early Q3 top based on the price, right? I'm looking at the trend lines, right? I'm looking at the price action. I don't really care about the time. As long as we did not see invalidation of this trend that started back in early 2023, this entire bull cycle, as long as we continue moving up on this trend line, then you can ignore time, right? We're just going to continue moving up. So eventually, we might diverge from it and have a blow off top, but, we're still hanging on. We haven't seen any, catastrophic meltdowns, anything crazy yet. So overall, it's business as usual in the long term for Bitcoin. So overall, I'd say, I'm just thinking about it, right? Do we expect to see another 3 years up, 1 years down, or maybe 3.5 years up, 6 months down? Something to think about. So all I have for Bitcoin on the daily chart, went over the monthly chart. This is V Trades, and thank you for your time.